I'd like to dedicate my presentation today to brown girls.
All right.
It was 2015, and there, in front of our country, of the United States, and on the world stage, was a presidential candidate describing Mexicans as criminals, drug dealers, and rapists. On the outside, I showed dismay, but on the inside, true anger. And I asked myself, how much longer will this reign of Mexicans and Mexican Americans go on? All my life, since a young girl, I have heard disparaging remarks about Mexicans and Mexican Americans. So now I say, as the Italians say, basta. I certainly hope you are aware of the significant contributions that Mexican Americans have and do contribute in our lives. Hardworking agricultural workers plant our food, harvest the crops, people taking care of children, older adults. In all segments of our professional businesses and lives are Mexicans and Mexican Americans. From the pilot flying the plane down to the construction workers right here in Seattle building the skyscrapers. Well, as for me, I have a split personality. Why do I say that? Well, I am physically in the English-speaking world. My heart is Latina. It was Hecho en Mexico, made in Mexico. After all, who could eat a diet of salsa, music that is, morning, noon, and night, and never tire of it? Is this split personality a psychological disorder? I hope you don't think so. After all, I'm quite fortunate. I can think, speak, and feel in 2 languages or cultures. Charlemagne once said, to have a second language is like having a second soul. How did it begin? A Mexican mother, Hortensia Guerrero, which actually means war warrior, and a German-Swedish father, La Musica, Charles Frederick Rossman. Okay. ¿Hay música? Gracias. Okay. Prior to my birth, barely alive, in the panza of mi mamá, in the panza of mi mamá, barely alive, she loved to sing and dance. She's cleaning the kitchen floor, or washing the dishes, or using the Wringer washing machine. Then I suddenly felt, this repetitive movement. 1, 2, cha-cha, 1, 2, cha-cha-cha, 1, 2, cha-cha-cha. 1, 2, cha-cha-cha. When I was 6 months old, my papa decided that he wanted to finish his BA degree in Mexico City. He was studying Spanish at the University of Montana. So one really hot summer day, he loaded us up in our big, big gray Hudson and drove us far, far, far away to Mexico City. When I was 10 months of age, I learned to walk in that metropolis, and from then, I do believe I became la vagabunda de la familia, to travel in other lands. After a year, mi papa graduated from Mexico City College. And once again, we made a trip back to Missoula. But I spent my childhood years conflicted. Although my first words were in Spanish, I was embarrassed that mi mama did not speak English. When she came to my Paxton School PTA meetings, she wore white tennies, white bobby socks, and she had hairy legs. In addition to that, because it was cold in Missoula, she would wear my Swedish grandmother's fox fur coat. I just wanted mi mama to be like all the other girls' moms. No, she was different. However, I have to say she was an excellent cook. When I'd come skipping home from school in the afternoon, I didn't know if my snack would be freshly baked Swedish buns or hot handmade tortillas with butter. Yes, she was a loving, loving mother. In fact, she continued to buy, for my brothers and I, our underwear, our calzoncillos, until we were in our 50s. My split personality was also reinforced by 2 more long trips back to Mexico City when I was 6 and when I was 9. My brothers and I would sit in the back seat of the big car, reading the road signs like this. Leaving Montana, entering Idaho, leaving Idaho, entering Utah, leaving Utah, entering Arizona, leaving Arizona, entering New Mexico, and por fin llegamos a Mexico. Then we would cruise to Chihuahua, to the town of Delicias, where my mother grew up. From there, we continued on to the eastern state of Nuevo León, the capital of Monterrey. From there, we visited the city, and then my most memorable moments were riding burros up a big hill to a beautiful, beautiful waterfall called Cola de Caballos, which means Horsetail Falls. On those incredibly long trips, I sat in the back seat of the car drinking lots of sugary Fantas and eating peanuts from the big jute bag that my father would buy, full of peanuts. And we ate lots of peanuts. It was just so much fun. However, I was fascinated by the Indian women with their long black braids walking along the highway with their bananas and their canastas. Fascinating. And the dogs that understood Spanish, and seeing the beautiful, tall rascacielos, skyscrapers in Mexico City. But when I returned home, I was taught that Mexico was a backward country. And I heard a lot of disparaging remarks. But upon reflection as a young girl, I thought, wait, we just came from this beautiful, lush environment of Mexico City. Beautiful trees and fountains, Also, I thought about the rich Aztec civilization, so much older than the United States, and the beautiful murals of Diego Rivera, the painter, famous painter. So I had seen things pretty differently. For many years, I, with the brown-skinned mother who only completed 5 years of elementary school in Mexico, had a strong desire to be estranged from that Mexican culture. I just couldn't embrace that. And there were many reasons. One is this. One October day, a beautiful day, it was my older brother Charlie's birthday. Me and Mama were hard in the kitchen, preparing a Mexican meal of enchiladas, arroz y frijoles. The kids started arriving. We had so much fun. We put on little party hats and then finally sat down to eat. All of a sudden, the kids started laughing and throwing the food at each other. My brothers and I looked at each other in horror. It was almost as if we decided right there we were not going to be Mexican. All things white and English were for us, and we refused to speak Spanish for a long, long time. Fortunately, years later, while studying at Washington State University, I had an awakening. I wanted to relearn the language that I once spoke, so I enrolled in a Spanish class. I also enrolled in another class, the history of Latin American music. I loved that class. The power of music, once again. From then on, I slowly embraced my Latina culture of fascinating art, dance, and music. Deep in my heart, I knew I had the ability to turn my brown girl experience, embarrassment of mi mama, and the Spanish language into something very positive and grand. I also started traveling through Mexico by myself. Today, my split personality fills me with joy. Why? I can decide on a Monday night whether I want to make my lunch in a Puritan work ethic sort of way, polish my shoes, or decide to go out dancing in a Latin club, leaving home about 9 o'clock, and staying up till 2, salsaing away, and still be able to get up at 8 in the morning to go to work. My split personality is also enriched by the smells of Montana white pine, frying corn tortillas, a finely built German Steinway piano, or a crude handmade violin of a Tarahumara Indian from Chihuahua. Those thousands of miles traveling back and forth from Missoula, Montana to Mexico City, infused in me a love of Mexico, but not just Mexico, other countries, other languages. I was fortunate, I got to learn Malay from working for the American Embassy in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I studied Portuguese, went to Brazil twice, and I've been to the beautiful country of Costa Rica 8 times. Well, it appears to this very day, there will always be people, even presidential candidates, who ignorantly put down our brown brothers and sisters. But my life serves as a testament of embracing one's culture and language, seeing the best of others, and the ability to see what others don't see. So there, I've told you my story, which I've been waiting my entire life to do, and I do appreciate your attentive listening. We have an expression in Spanish, no dejes para mañana lo que puedes hacer hoy, which is what, bilingual people?
Don't leave for tomorrow what you can do today.
Exactamente. By telling our stories, we embrace who we are and we educate others. Be proud of your heritage and remember, we are a country of immigrants who deserve kindness and respect. The U.S. country of origin states that all goods produced overseas must be identified with a mark denoting the country of origin. I was born in Missoula, Montana, but my heart was produced in another land. It was Hecho in Mexico.
Yeah.